Hope the FCC doesn't clamp down on me for that. Barnold.
The name.
Swatwucken. Of the Hamburg Swatwuckens? You can watch live there, by the way, at AlanCoxShow.com. By the way, while you're there, hit the little hamburger menu in your upper left to go down to the contest page, and you get all the details on how you can win this Buzzard bike that we're giving away. In addition to $1,000 an hour from the Buzzard bookie, you can register to win this brand new Harley that we're giving away. Did this last year. It was a lot of fun doing it again this year, courtesy of Budweiser and WMMS. So you can qualify there on the website. I will have a key for you around 5:20 this afternoon. And then all the people who qualify with these keys, you'll all meet up. I think the finals are on August the 3rd. And one of those keys is going to start the Harley. So Dieter is going to be out over the next few weeks doing a handful of appearances. That schedule is there too. If you see the Budweiser MMS Harley display when you're out and about, that's going to have a QR code on it. You can scan that as well. So there's no shortage of ways to get you qualified to win the Buzzard bike. But I'll have a key for you later on around 5:20. Devotion to accuracy. A couple things we were talking about going into the break. I do know who Hannah Berner is. She's Des Bishop's wife. That's how I know who she is, right?
Yes, she is Des Bishop's wife.
There you go. So I do know who she is.
That Des Bishop was her husband.
And she was on some Bravo show that my wife watched.
Summer House.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how she kind of got, like, not famous, but she was on that show, and then she started a podcast, or might have been going concurrently, and then her podcast blew up. And then, yeah, she's been doing comedy and every other thing.
And Hannah Einbinder on Hacks is Lorraine Newman's daughter. You know who Lorraine Newman is?
Mm-mm.
She was in the original cast of Saturday Night Live, but she still shows up in things all the time. That is her daughter. Another damn Nepo baby.
Right, them Nepo babies.
Lorraine Newman doing a voice. What did we just see that had Lorraine Newman's voice? Oh, we went to go see the new Despicable Me movie. It's Despicable Me Quattro. I don't know if it has a subtitle on it. It's just Despicable Me 4. And it's entertaining. Took the little one, you know. It's an hour and 34 minutes. You're in, you're out. It's fantastic. Even these, I've lamented the increasing length of movies. I'm not alone. There's a lot of people who are coming to realize that movies are just too goddamn long. You know, if it's Dune or Alien or something like that, you know, if you've got some epic tale to tell, give me 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it's not going to feel like it. It's the movies that are really, and I don't know if it's the streaming effect, you know, where these shows will take kind of a seed of a premise and then go, well, we got to stretch this out across 10 episodes when you could have done it in 3. Although I feel like that's starting to go the other way, too. I think as these streaming services want to spend less now, and they seem to be a little bit more picky about what they're putting on, they also seem to be doing fewer episodes. Because you figure you go back, if you binge watch old network television comfort food, people forget how many episodes of network television shows.
24, 25
23 a season. Yeah. So back in the day, you know, everybody's kind of got their, you know, for people who have maybe 90s or early aughts comfort food shows. For a long time, for me, it was Seinfeld. Now I'm in like the Office, 30 Rock kind of thing. Parks and Rec. You know, those shows would have 23 episodes a season.
But even by the time Parks and Rec was wrapping up, they got smaller orders.
Yeah, they're like 13, 14 episodes.
13, 14 episodes. What's crazy to me are the shows that are like the procedurals that are like an hour long that have 20 seasons, like Grey's Anatomy has so many seasons, and it's 25 seasons of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So many episodes. Yeah,
Jesus.
House has got 1 million episodes.
I mean, I remember sitting there, not being forced. I joke and say I was forced to watch Grey's Anatomy. It's just what my girlfriend at the time was watching. And that was like 20 years ago. Sitting there watching Grey's Anatomy. And the show is still on. Because that one girl has held on by her fingernails, Ellen Pompeo. I think it's still on, I think, right?
I think it's still on because
I have no idea.
The only reason I know it's on or know anything about it is because of some video where someone's like, hey, things keep happening at this hospital. There was like a helicopter crash and a terrorist attack and just all sorts of random stuff. And they're like, and it's all the same hospital. It's all the same hospital.
Well, that's why,
hospital?
networks still have, television networks still have those kinds of shows. Like Rob Lowe does a show called
911.
Yeah, Rescue. I was going to say Reno 911, but yeah, it's like 911 Lone Star, or they have all these kinds of shows. And you watch them and you go, okay, at this point, they just must be fun to do. Because they kind of have like some low-key CGI. The scripts are redonk.
Yeah.
So even if you're an actor of his caliber, it's like him and Angela Bassett.
Yeah. And they
on these shows, and you're like, you're making money. You get to go home every night.
Money.
Yeah.
You go home every night, and the scripts are usually like they'll take like a kernel of a real story and then just go wild with it. Like there's a clip that's going around from 911. I think it's Paul Scheer was talking about it on his podcast, and it's just a guy that he's got phantom or like ghost arm syndrome, so he just keeps slapping people.
Yeah.
And him and what's his name? Rob
Riggle?
Not
Rob
Riggle. Hubel, yeah. They're like, we got to get on the show. We got to get on this show. It just looks like so much fun.
Ever since the helicopter in ER fell on the guy, I think, and chopped his arm off, and then he died like another way. Yeah. A lot of 911 shows. There was one where Jennifer Love Hewitt was a 911 operator.
I think that one was just 911.
Is that what it was?
I think it was, yeah, like the original.
I always think about...
I think that's still going, too.
But I always think about the people in real life who do those jobs. Like, anytime I see a show that's about radio, people who work in real life in any industry, obviously, they'll laugh at how it is portrayed in movies and TV.
Oh, Frasier's the best.
Ridiculous. Frasier was the closest to real life. I mean, not his apartment, of course.
Right.
But I mean, I'm talking about like the radio station. Like in the early 90s, one of my favorite movies was a movie called Talk Radio. And Eric Bogosian was a playwright, and he would do these one-man shows, and he made a film out of one of his plays called Talk Radio. And Alec Baldwin was the program director or whatever. And he was like, this shock jock or whatever. It was based on a true story of a guy in Denver who actually got killed by a listener, a guy named Alan Berg. And they changed the location to Dallas, and Eric Bogosian is this, firebrand. But the studio he's in is this massive.
Right.
He's the only guy in it. There's like neon everywhere. I'm like, okay, because you have to
make it look good for film.
Yeah, you have to engage in some hyperbole. But anytime there's a show where there's like a radio, we were watching.
Airheads is a good.
Airheads is good.
That's a funny one where they go in and it's this. Everybody's. The studio state of the art, everything's it's just crazy.
Yeah, Ian the Shark was Joe Mantegna was the shock jock.
Yeah,
I always thought about that too with the Joe Dirt. He's a janitor at a radio station, and the top guy just is like, "Come in here, let me interview you."
Yeah,
I'm like,
Dennis Miller,
because
we just watched Joe Dirt over the break because it's like one of my wife's favorite movies. We ended up watching like Biodome and Joe Dirt because our kid's 8 now, and we're like, she might get a kick out of these movies. But first of all, Biodome is it's an utter turd, but it's so fun to watch. It's just terrible, but it's so fun to watch. But Joe Dirt, because Dennis Miller is Xander Kelly.
Yeah.
And he's but he's just Dennis Miller. It's not like he didn't have to play anybody or, I doubt they even gave him a script. Just like go in there and be Dennis Miller. And we'll put a microphone in front of you.
Yeah, but when's the last time you were like, hey, you janitor, come in here for an on-air interview because you have weird hair?
Oh, we used to do it all the time back in the day. Oh, yeah, you'd pull people, the cleaning crew.
That was like not real. I was like, nobody does that.
Well, we used to. Now, you forget the janitor. Now you don't even have people. Your coworkers don't even work with you anymore. There's nobody around here. I see the cleaning crew people here more than I see my coworkers. But no, back in the day when you had, you'd pull somebody in who was coming in to, empty the garbage cans or whatever, because they'd have, if you were lucky, they'd have some kind of wild story. You're like, oh, what's your name? Whatever. You get some old dude who was just pushing a cart, up and down the elevators all day long. But July 9th, that's today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not so you know it, by the way. I'm probably not the only one. My neighbors are like still setting off fireworks. I'm like, guys, It's like a week later, bro. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that you overbought. It's like pop, 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 pop. I'm like, what is going on? Still, like last night, like 1 a.m. Pop, 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 like I mean, not my neighbors. They're like not right next door, but like off in the distance, like 2 streets over. I'm like, it's the 8th of July. What is happening around here? But I mentioned July 9th because it was 20 years ago today. A little movie called Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. 20 years old.
Movie.
Oh, my God.
Movie.
20 years today.
I remember seeing it in theaters.
Yep.
It's rated R, right?
No.
No, I think it's PG-13.
The original one was PG-13, but then they did like an uncensored.
I was going to say, because I saw it, if it would have been, I'd have been 14, but I saw that movie in theaters, I think 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Because it was just like every weekend, my friends wanted to go back and watch it again. And again, 20 years ago was not a time when it came out streaming a week later. It was like 8 months before you could rent it on DVD after that.
Well, I like the stories about, if you've ever watched like the DVD commentaries or whatever, I always like the stories about who was being thought of to be cast in these kinds of movies. Like they had Will Ferrell, because it was Will Ferrell and Adam McKay. But then they wanted Dan Aykroyd in it. And Alec Baldwin, they were talking to him about doing something. Brick Tamlin, which was really what blew Steve Carell up. That was going to be James Spader. And they got Keckner to play the whammy guy.
Champ
Kind.
Champ Kind, right. That was going to be John C. Reilly. And before they got Paul Rudd, it was going to be like Odenkirk or Stiller or one of those guys. I love those kinds of stories. Maggie Gyllenhaal was going to be the Christina Applegate part. But I thought that Anchorman made like a ton of money. It made $90 million. And only cost him $25 to make. So
yeah, so it's a
huge lot of money,
hit, yeah.
right? And 20
and it
years
probably
ago,
didn't do like a ton internationally. I don't know how
you don't think so?
how it does.
Relatable that is.
Yeah, but that's still really good returns.
Yeah.
And then the sequel was just so bad.
I'm telling you, I don't think there was a better time for comedies than the early 2000s. Maybe they're not so appropriate, but like Anchorman, Superbad, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Wedding Crashers, like all of those movies, Step Brothers. I feel like all of those
Yeah, but that
movies
appealed to
came
you.
out,
That appealed to
that's
you
your
at the age that you were in too. Yeah.
but they're so funny.
Yeah, but then I could go and be like, well, give me 1994, Dumb and Dumber.
I love Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And
like
I'd go for Weird Science
Yeah.
and Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura and Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison.
Oh, those are
there's-
good too.
Yeah, there's it's just whenever you're 13, the best movies came out.
I was young with those, but yeah, those are really good too. Adam Sandler was. Oh.
God, somebody tweeted something hilarious. You know who Jay Johnston is?
Yeah. he
Okay.
just got
He's the guy who was Jimmy Pesto on Bob's Burgers. He was in Mr. Show back in the day. He was part of the January 6th riot. They got this guy, and they were like, boy, that looks a lot like Jay Johnston. And they got him. They fired him from Bob's Burgers. And he has pleaded guilty to being a part of that whole thing. So I don't know what comes next for him. But his career is essentially over. Somebody tweeted, he's the only guy to be in a real fight in Anchorman and on January 6th, because he was one of the other news teams.
Yeah.
Remember when the other news teams would come out and fight everybody in Anchorman? He was one of those guys. I mostly remembered him from Mr. Show back in the day.
Yeah, Mr. Show, and then he appeared on Arrested Development the early seasons a few times as a cop.
I got money here. It's $1,000 courtesy of the Buzzard Bookie. So listen closely, and I hope you win.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Money, that's money. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
What cologne you gonna go with? London Gentleman or... Wait. No. Hold on. Blackbeard's Delight.
No. She gets a special cologne. It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries. Yep. It's made with bits of real panther, so you know it's good.
It's quite pungent.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, it's a formidable scent. It stings the nostrils. In a good way.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you. That smells like pure gasoline.
They've done studies, you know. 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
So the scene where the 4 of them sing Afternoon Delight in the office, in Will Ferrell's office, I took my little flip phone and paused my DVD at the perfect moment to record that on my phone and set it as my ringtone. So the four of them singing Afternoon Delight was my ringtone for like a year. But you had to like get it just right.
Baby,
Yes.
gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some afternoon delight. My motto's always been when it's right. Why wait until the middle of a cold, dark night? When everything's a little clearer in the light of day. And we know the night is always gonna be here anyway. Thinking of you's working up my appetite. Looking forward to a little afternoon delight. Rubbing sticks and stones together, making sparks ignite. And the thought of loving you is getting so exciting. Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight. You guys have it, I think. Afternoon delight.
I don't know, Ron. That sounds kind of crazy.
Sounds like you have mental problems, man.
Yeah, you got mental problems, man.
Yeah, it really does. Man. Afternoon delight. I make a phone call here.
That was your ringtone.
It was my ringtone and I would let it go. I missed so many phone calls just because I wanted to listen to it.
Honey, call me back immediately. I need to talk to you. I know you're listening to Afternoon Delight, but you got to call me back, please. Call me back.
She's listening to Afternoon Delight.
I loved it.
What happened? Oh, Snuggles got hit by a car, and we had to put him down. Oh, well. Whoop. Afternoon Delight. The Starland Vocal Band. What a great grab by those guys.
Hey guys, Sean in Strongsville. I gotta tell you, Bill, don't you think like pool bars have to be man's worst invention? I mean, face it, those people are not getting out to go to the bathroom, right? Let's just put it out there, so to speak. Anyway, all right, love you guys. Hate the show.
Okay, he's
Bye.
talking. You were talking about going to Put-in-Bay. That's what he's talking.
Yeah,
Pool
dude.
bars.
You think I'm getting out to go? to
See,
the
I'm a
bathroom?
psycho. I get out, but
So does
I
Brian.
fully understand why people do not. It's no fun getting out.
No fun getting out. They got chemicals in there. What are they paying for the chemicals for if you're
Yeah,
not peeing in the
they
pool?
shocked those pools so hard, boy. They were, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I don't care. I'm not like dunking my head under in a swim up bar.
Also, I'm surprised
good
at
time.
that guy's take.
The worst invention.
I can't imagine that I'd ever hear a dude. I mean, at the risk of being sexist, I'm surprised I would ever hear a dude go, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Swim up bars."
I saw it.
Everybody's, and you can tell. Some people just stand there and they get this look on their face too, and you know exactly what's going on.
I saw as I was coming in today, they got the bridge closed because they're shooting Superman, so I had to get off at West 6th Street.
Yep.
And as I'm getting off the exit, you got to slow down, make that turn. There is a man just fully peeing over the barrier, which I thought was a bold move.
He got a good arc going.
Like usually, well, he was tall enough that he's just like usually you'd like maybe do like a wide stance and try and use the barrier to hide it.
Yeah.
This guy was just like, he basically had it laying on the barrier and just peeing off of it.
He was hanging it over the barrier,
like it was
just
a
letting
turret.
letting it trickle out. Oh, that's good.
I know what you're asking yourself, and the answer is yes. I have a nickname for my penis. It's called the Octagon. But I also nickname my testes. My left one is James Westfall, and my right one is Dr. Kenneth Noisewater.
Dr. Kenneth Noisewater.
It's the
I
Alan
don't
Cox
want
Show
that.
on 100.
I don't want that right now.
Sorry,
I kind of do, but in a second. It is Nude Recreation Week, so just maybe that guy was enjoying Nude Recreation Week. Were his pants like at top of thigh, or he didn't have them all the way down, right? They weren't like down to his ankles. He wasn't going full on.
He didn't have his
like-
pants all the way down. He just was like, he just had it out and just was peeing over the barrier.
Yep.
Just like, here's what I do. It's middle of the day. I got to pee. Not going to go into a business and do it. I'm just going to let it out right here.
We're fresh off the 4th of July. He was declaring his independence from social mores,
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, all this week, Nude Recreation Week. Now, is it a coincidence that it's the week after Independence Day? I don't know, but it runs through Sunday. And so for those of us who like being naked as much as possible, this is a great week to really, drill down on that kind of stuff. Mary will be doing it. after this Netflix party.
Oh.
She's going to come home. She's going to be so excited, running around, her and her roommate, stripping out of bra and panties for a tickle fight.
You know it.
And since it is legal in the state of Ohio for women to be topless on the beaches along the lakefront, ladies, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to engage with Nude Recreation Week. You don't have to be overseas to do this. It's international. Here in this country, we celebrate it from the 8th to the 14th. So go and do likewise. Okay, I do have to break. You want to send me a text? 35192. AlanCoxShow.com is where you can watch, and you can listen anywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Rover's Morning Glory.
3 states now have ammo vending machines where you can buy bullets